Hello folks, welcome to tradepicks, another recap video for Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. And today we're up $40, continuing our flow, trying to get back all that money we lost in the first day of December. And on that note, remember that if you are going to trade, that day trading is extremely risky. You will lose money, especially if you don't know what you're doing or you're just starting out. If you're starting out, seek professional advice and before making any investment decisions about brokers, about software, etc., etc. So we have a routine. I have a routine, which is shown on screen. Hopefully you guys use some of it or are reviewing it or incorporating it into your day trading routines. But basically, mark out resistance if you're trading to the upside. If you like my videos, hit the like, subscribe, so you can get more of them and we can get it out to more folks. So here's our P&L for the day. We started out making a little bit over $5, then lost that, and we're down 51 cents, which was okay. And then we got a nice trade to go up $29. We entered in another trade, lost about a little over $9, but we gamed it back by making another $20 and winding up today with 40, which is really good. Here are the stocks we traded. We only traded 2 stocks. We were red on 2 and green on the other 2, and luckily the green ones were a lot bigger than our losers, which is really important because it means we were only our efficiency was only 50% on the winning rates, but we still made money. So I'm not so concerned about the winning percentage anymore. I'm more concerned about making sure that your average winning trade in dollar amount is higher than your losings, because that's what's going to happen. But for the month, you can see here, our monthly P&L now is down to minus $113, and we brought that down from 446. So hopefully we got a few more days and we can cut that down to 0 or even turn it into a positive one. So here's the first stock we traded, VYNE, under $1, and it was making noise. And I added a couple of things on the bottom right hand corner there. I added the watch list with the percentage changed, and I update that dynamically as I see stocks moving up and down. And I also I'll fix that smaller one for the market watch list, but you can see in small text there what the market is doing. I use that as a sentiment. It's mostly red, and it was up and down, up and down. I wanted to speed this up, but there is an important item to watch on this particular stock about the 18-minute mark. So if you bear with me, I want you to see if you guys can figure it out before you get to the 18-minute mark on this particular stock. So we jumped in with 50 shares. It was just a starter. It had hit 73 cents in the high, and it looked like it had a nice round, about almost a double top there, circular up, and the MACD showed almost like it was going to close and then rise up. Even though our zero lag MACD showed red, it looked like it was closing up. So it looked like it was a very short period to the downside. So it was probably looking for liquidity, but the volume remained sort of small as well, as opposed to when it first jumped up. And we got on it as soon as we saw it on the scanner, but it was way too late. It just moved up too quickly from 50 cents up to 73. So at this point, we're up at the top bar of the VWAP. Say that 3 times without stuttering. And so we decided to go in. And we were up a little bit, and I thought about taking this profit, but I thought I had marked it already, resistance up around 90 cents, and I thought this might hit 80, and they might hit 85. So I was keeping it to have a winner. And this is early on in pre-market. It's 5:40 a.m. when we started. And I like the pattern here. But it was pulling back, and it was consolidating up at the top there. So we didn't take our profit, so we're bouncing up and down. And it looked like it was going to hold between 70 and 75 there, but without moving. And there was a huge seller at 79. There were folks coming in and selling at 79. So that was proving to be a resistance point between 79 to 77. Was heavy resistance. And as you can see here, we start to turn red, and the 133 tick chart there in the middle at the bottom starts heading downward. So folks are a little bit too exhausted. And while we talk about, let's look at the watch list there. So UDMY had moved up earlier, but it had almost remained below $7 and not made any more moves. ADTX was moving very slowly. It did make a search after the open. BEAT, I kept that on watch because it had moved up. It was all the way up to $4, but I did not take any trades knowing how that stock dumps. And YCBD, a cannabis stock, along with ACAN and CGC, I think, are stocks that started to move after the open on news that policy may ease back restrictions on the sale of cannabis. So 420 to them, but I did not take any trades on those stocks. I felt that they were a little volatile. Here we continue to see a profit, and I should have taken this right there at 75 cents. But I did. I'm holding up for more. So our first trade, we went in 68, and we bought at 73, and we sold at 73.87. So it was a very tiny winner. Then we went back in, did we? Or we're still holding 240 shares. That's what it is. So what I did here is I sold half. I sold 240, and I sold half because I didn't want too big of exposure to the downside. And in retrospect, that was actually a great move. Well, it was the second. I should have sold up at the top here at 75 and ignored keeping the 240. That was the first. So the first dumb move was not selling at that high. The best move I did in anticipation was selling those 240 there at 73.87, almost break even, so that way my losses weren't as big. And what's going to happen on this trade here? Yeah, see, I try to sell, and then did I sell? How much am I holding? Yeah, I sold 240 more because I don't want to risk too much of exposure. So I'm only holding 70 shares. and we're still positive on the day. But the way I did that, by selling and splitting it across that consolidation line, even though it's slightly up, it avoided the fact that I would lose. Where here I wound up losing, I think, 51 cents, and I finally get out. And by this time, it was smart to get out because we see the MACD there has curled and is almost just about to touch the signal line. And there goes our screen alerting us that the MACD has hit to the downside, and we're not going to take any risk. Bam, we sell. So no big deal, 51-cent loss. A few minutes later, at 5:46, it starts moving up again and still consolidating. We're still down 51 cents, but we decide to ignore it. And we're going to continue to watch it because I still didn't like anything else that was out there. I just didn't feel that, well, let me evaluate this. The cannabis stocks were a little too violent for me. So I'm on a very chilled day today, and I felt that I would not be able to react quickly. So if I had reacted quickly, I would have sold here when I was up $9, right? I would have taken the $9, and I did think about it. I said, take the 9, get out, and continue looking for more. But like we did yesterday. Yesterday we took quite a few trades, and we waited for our trade. So no big deal. If I wind up the day on minus 50 cents, that's a terrific winner. That's risk management. And so when you're looking at a stock and it's in a pattern that it might go up, but then it begins to consolidate and it begins to do like it's doing here, arcing to the downside, the best thing you can do is the same way that you would, let's say you're bullish and you see a stock moving up, right? And you take a starter, you take 50 shares, and then you see it move up 4 or 5 cents, and you think that it's going to go up 10. Then you go in with a little larger size, right? And then all of a sudden it hits that goal that you thought it was going to go to, and it looks like there's still more to the upside, and you might want to take more size there because you're building up size so that when the stock is moving, it's moving higher. Now, that would only happen in a bull market. Not going to happen in December 2025, guys. Not going to happen in 2025. It may not happen in January either. So just be prepared. So the way to manage risk if you're in a trade is, and if you see it that it continues to consolidate and it doesn't move up to your expectations to the point where you're have some type of nice profit, then start scaling out. And start scaling out before the stock gets exhausted and before traders say, okay, I'm not going to trade it anymore. And then it takes a big red candle bar all the way to the downside. And here there was only 2-3 cents. And yesterday I mentioned that fact that taking 2 to 3 cents was really good. Excuse me. That prior bar to this one is actually good. Right off a VWAP there. That's a bounce. And it looks like it's going to go up, right? So that would have been a good place to take a trade. I didn't see it, to tell you the truth, until a few minutes later. But that would have been a nice trade. I finally do take it when I realize that it's just bouncing off a VWAP. And I'm going to continue to watch it. And again, I like the 3/4 hour before 6 o'clock time, 5:45 to 6:20 or so. That period, we seem to have surge in stocks. Not every day, but it does happen. I continue to watch it here, and what helped me was that the volume down on the zero lag MACD looks like it's picking up. Even though the MACD there looks like it's running parallel and below the signal line. So I continue to hold. And I thought about selling 500 here, but I thought I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to hold it based on the fact that it just bounced off a VWAP and that it might go up, and that other stuff is not moving. So here it goes, continues to go higher. Now we got a nice profit there. We're at 77, which is still only 4 cents, guys and gals. We're in with 1,000 shares, and at 77 cents, not a whole lot of money for a 2K small account. And here I think this is it. I think it's going to hit the top of that VWAP. So I start scaling out. And again, like yesterday, there was hesitation from the Thinkorswim platform in getting out. Some trades I got in real quick, but in others I didn't. So we sold 500 at 76. We bought in at 73, so we only made about 3 cents. And here we're up for the other 500 at 77. So it's only 3 or 4 cents, and we got our 30 bucks. So we're happy. And I just did not trust based on the MACDs there. The lines are just too parallel, and the volume did not go higher. So if there was interest from other traders in this stock, it should have gone higher. But I think at this point, we're nearing the 6 o'clock hour, and I think folks are waiting for news. And okay, so here's key. Now, this is something I saw based on a couple of things. So earlier, I drew my resistance lines at around 93 cents, and there was nothing below that. But here, I began to look at the active trader window, or the level 2, and there were a lot of sellers coming in at 79 cents. And what I was seeing was a surge in sellers. They would get taken out, and they would surge back up again. So I drove this resistance line based on what I saw by looking at level 2 and looking at the active trader window, and based on what I was seeing on the stock. The other thing there is, you see that line with the green dots? While it looks like it's moving up at a 45-degree angle all the way up, my thought is that it is going to curve and curve to the downside. And that's what I began to see. And so I see less bids. The number of bids is less than the number of sells. And I gotta fix the level 2 window. Can't see those numbers very well. Sorry about that. I'll have to fix that. I'll stretch that out for tomorrow. And so this is what I was talking to see if you guys saw it. Basically, huge resistance at 80. It is likely that this stock is going to dump right there at that point. And and that it's not going to go higher. So my scalp here of 29 bucks is done. I took my trades. I made some money, and I should not go in, because see right here, that move right there to the upside, those two green bars, that's a FOMO, fake breakout. It's going to fool folks into thinking this is going up, let's jump in with another 1,000 shares, and then what happens is it never goes past 80. So there's two lessons in this trade here. One, risk management. If you see it consolidating after you've entered, the best thing to do is start reducing your size so that when the plunge does come, it doesn't hit you as hard. The next thing you got to do is look at your indicators. I still see folks, they're looking at, their focus is on the chart. And you guys should try to trade just with the MACD and the level 2. And you'll say, well, then I'll feel blind. But what it'll do is it'll help you train your eyes to stay on the MACD and base your trades on the MACD and the volume and what's happening in level 2. As you can see there, it continues to get very heavy between 77 and 80 cents. A lot of heavy sellers, and the buyers, the bids are under 10,000. Now, as a beginner day trader, you're not going to be able to do this right off the bat. It is very difficult, and things change from week to week, from month to month, and sometimes from day to day based on what the market's doing and what's happening. So here we look at the watch list at the market. The Qs are down to about 613, 680, and there's a reset, right? Every day, the whatever stock price was set, it resets, and then the next day, even moves up even a little, it looks positive. So the SPY sold off. Remember, it was what, up nearing 690, and we thought it might hit 7,000 by middle of December, and then it sold off. And yesterday it sold off again, and now it gives you the appearance that it's moving up and that everything is rosy, right? And that's the way the media reports on it. They'll look at it and they'll say, oh, it's green across all indices, the stock market. And all indices are green, so that's positive. But even though it sold off yesterday and it's only, up a few percentage points. So you got to watch what the market's doing. You got to watch the stock. You got to watch your MACD. You notice I started removing the volume. I removed the volume indicators from there. Because the volumes are in the histogram there. You can see the volume in the histogram. And the volume indicators on the 5-minute are a guide for me as well. Especially that awesome oscillator. If whatever trading software you have, if you can get that awesome oscillator, get it installed. Because it shows you as volume is climbing up, and it'll also show you as volume is climbing down. It's important. So now you can see here at 80 cents, it's hit a wall where it's curving. And sure enough, that green line with the dots is also hit the VWAP there, and it's now going to start curving down. And now we're down to 76 cents. And one of the issues with small caps, stocks under $1, of course, is that they trade in up to 4 decimal numbers. So the bids are huge and the spreads are huge, so it's difficult. There you finally see a red down arrow from one of the indicators. And this stock actually fell back down to 60 cents, I think. Maybe even below that. And it never climbed up. So again, like yesterday, we had two stocks like this yesterday where they momentarily moved up. We caught the move, small 3 to 4 cent win, and we made some money, and we left it alone. We did not get eager thinking that this stock was going to go to the moon. That's a fallacy. Stop thinking that. Go in, get your nice quick hit, get out. For small accounts, that's all you can do. If you have a bigger account, things might be different. You might hold something longer. You might look at different stocks. You may not even trade these types of stocks because they're not worth it to you. You might trade something else like PCSA, I think was the one was halting up and down. For me, I didn't want to take trades in that. It was just too high. There wasn't any profit, large profit to be made there. And like I mentioned, I'm not looking for any specific amount. I'm looking to be positively green. I'm not looking at what I am down for the month and trying to make everything back in one day. You've noticed it's been a slow climb, but we're within $113. That's huge, huge 2 weeks. So we left that stock and we came to IRBT, which was also moving. This one, I didn't think it had a whole lot of volume. I didn't want to trust it, but the MACD there looks like it picked up. And this one had a lot more activity. As you can see in level 2, it's full there, and folks are lining up their sells at 93 cents. And which is interesting because the sources are different, right? They all come from all different types of brokers, and then the buyers are lined up, and likewise they are from a whole bunch of different buyers. So I didn't want to get in here at this high, but I thought, what the heck? This might go to $1, which is what I had put up the resistance up there, and I'm gonna miss those 10 cents there, 4 or 5, 10 cents. So that's what's going through my head right now, and I finally decide to get in. So we get in with 240 shares. It's a little, now here it's 10 minutes to 7 a.m. Pacific. We're already in the open market, so we can use bracket orders. So that helps a little bit because we can set a stop limit. And I think I used one that's 40 cents, which was obviously way too high. So I move it down below what I think it's going to hit. So that's what I'm thinking, 98 cents or so, right below $1. And it looks like it's going to move up. But obviously the buy here was a little less than that. And a good glance at this would be to look at it when it went off of BWAP, that big bar right out the open. That would have been the buy entry. And then there's a second, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the seventh bar off the open. Right after those 3 red bars, it jumps off of the VWAP again. That would have been the entry there, but we weren't watching it. So this hits a double top there, right around 94 cents, and it starts to crawl down, and it stops us out, which is good. We managed our risk. We only lost $10. We had a nice cushion. Well, not a nice cushion, but a $29 cushion. So we could absorb those $10. And our thought is here, okay, so we wind up the day plus $20, which is not bad because it's still green. But we're going to continue to watch it. and it's now 7:01 a.m. Pacific, and it starts moving back up again. And we're almost to the end of the video, so I want to thank you guys. Hit the like button, guys, gals, or subscribe. Leave your comments below if you have questions. So here we finally see it move up to almost the same high as before. We jumped in a little early off of that bar there, thinking that it's going to pick up, and it does. And at this point, we're not even going to wait for it to hit the dollar. We're just going to cancel and get out, because we have a good feel here. We're positive. Here's a great move, and we just get out. And we wind up with $10 extra. We made back the 9 that we lost, and we now have 10 extra to wind up 40 on the day. So tomorrow's another day. We'll see what the next 2 days brings, but be careful, guys. Have a great day.